What's going on, everybody? In today's video here, we're going to look at Cleanspark and Bitcoin and what's really going on the chart. Should you stay bullish? Should you be bearish? So it's going to be a pretty simple video today, just looking over the technicals and showing you what I see for both Bitcoin and Cleanspark. Now, Cleanspark, we're having another rough day again. We ran all the way to the 750 area after breaking out of this important resistance here right around $5. And as of recently, we've just been dropping like a rock from that 750 area, primarily due to Bitcoin pulling back. We have broken our 50 MA, and some think we're heading down towards the 200 MA right in the threes. And while I think that is, not out of the question, we can definitely try to approach the 200 MA, especially if Bitcoin falls further. One level before that I'm watching for is kind of this ascending support. It's flipped as resistance, it's became support before, flipped as resistance, became support before, and I do think we're going to test it as support. And since it's an ascending trend line, it really depends on timing. If we drop dramatically, its support could be somewhere around 425 or so. If we start trading sideways, try to come back up again, find resistance here at this 5 area, we could maybe test it at sometime in October, right around 450. So I do think this blue line, this ascending support, is going to be important to watch before the 200 MA if we do drop dramatically. But I want to show you something. I'm still bullish. We had our golden cross. When was the last one that we had? Well, besides this very short-lived one that basically went to a golden cross right back to a death cross within like a month or so, when Cleanspark ran from like $10 all the way to $24, besides this time where we had a very short-lived golden cross, our previous real, substantial golden cross without a death cross soon afterwards was back here in August of 2020, back when Cleanspark ran from $4 all the way to its highs at about $40. So it did a 10x on its golden cross right when the halving was coming around. Well, the halving is coming around again. It is only a few months out, and we did have our golden cross here back when Cleanspark was rallying from the threes. And if we do pull back considerably, if we do test the 200 MA in the high threes, which I sort of doubt, I highly doubt we're actually going to see a death cross and become bearish, at least from that standpoint. It would take a substantial drop for those moving averages to actually flip. And I personally just don't see that happening, but let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you see a potential death cross around the corner? I think what would need to happen to actually see Cleanspark become very bearish on the charts and show a death cross and show a drop under all the EMAs as well would be Bitcoin dropping like under 20,000 or something. Now we'll look at Bitcoin in a second here, and we'll also go over something else that I find very interesting. But Cleanspark, as of their last earnings report, they gave forward guidance that they're going to be expecting $57 million in revenue this quarter. Now if Bitcoin continues to drop, continues to struggle, I think it's unlikely they're going to see 57 million. This projection was made when Bitcoin was right around 30,000. But I do think at the least we're going to continue to see, obviously, year-over-year revenue growth as well as quarter-over-quarter revenue growth. And as long as we can post in next earnings, which is definitely a bit away, but as long as we can post over 45.5 million, we would see that quarterly revenue growth. And, ever since the beginning of this year, we have been seeing growth in revenue. And one thing to think about is they are so close to profitability. They only had a $14 million loss in the quarter they just reported. And I did a previous video where basically if Bitcoin was in 35 to 37,000 range, Cleanspark would have likely posted a profit. So, across the message boards, across Webull, across other social media, people are getting very negative. People are saying sell. People are starting to panic. Well, I see this as a great opportunity to load up on your high conviction Bitcoin miners. And I will be doing an upcoming video going over what Bitcoin miner I'm likely going to purchase next. As I've said before, I do want to diversify among other Bitcoin miners. Cleanspark is currently the only one I own. I have swing traded in and out of many before, and I am planning on starting another position on a long-term Bitcoin miner that I'll likely hold into at least 2024, if not 2025. But stick around for that video coming up either today or maybe tomorrow. But yes, despite this little pullback, I'm still extremely bullish on Cleanspark and Bitcoin over the next several months. And of course, over time progressing after the halving. I think now is not the time to worry and get, distraught and be fearful. I think now is the time to get FOMO, fear of missing out of these great, amazing prices, knowing that things might pull back further. But I see this personally as a clear buying opportunity. And I'll show you Bitcoin on the chart in just a second here and show you how oversold it actually is. But the moving averages are still bullish. They are still ascending. We're still above the 200 MA. Although with Cleanspark, we are under the 50 MA. But I don't personally see them doing a death cross. I think that's very unlikely. Now looking at the EMAs, they are still in a bullish order, although we have broken under the 50, and it looks like now we're testing the 100. And a test of the 200 EMA would be right around this like 460 area, and we'd obviously have to break that and fall considerably for these to actually flip. But long story short, I'm still extremely bullish on the technicals on Cleanspark. Now looking at Bitcoin, I previously expected to see a potential test of 28,000. We did test it and we broke it. We're even cheaper now than $28,000. And you can see that we found resistance on the 50 MA. It started curling down, started becoming short-term bearish. So we did pull back. We broke the 200 MA as well. And now we're attempting to hold this $26,000 area. Now I personally see an important area, an important level of support that if it does break, we could see some real pain as we continue this kind of trend down. I see 25,000 as an extremely important level to watch. It's been a resistance, it's also been a support, but I do want to show you just how oversold Bitcoin is. Look at the RSI here. The last time we saw an RSI this oversold is back in June of 2022, back when Bitcoin went all the way down to 17,000, and it seemed to have just dropped like a rock. From nearly 30,000 all the way down to 17, it became so oversold. And after that point, it went from 17,000 all the way up to 25,000 before pulling back again, finding its bottom at 15 for a very short period before running back up. And now we're basically where we are today, still hovering in the 20s. Now, one thing I'm also watching for is seeing this 200 MA. If it starts actually curling down, we may face some struggles here. But right now, the 200 MA is pointing up. The 50 MA is pointing down. If we can consolidate and run back up, maybe play out with this previous support that we have here. What my major concern is, I don't want to see this red line flip the green line. And where EMAs are concerned, it does look like the 50 MA is getting very close to the 100. But still, we saw these crossover from being so bearish, from all trending down, pointing downwards. We started seeing Bitcoin recovering from 15. Soon after, we saw these EMAs as well as MAs, all trending up and breaking above each other. The 50 back in the top, the 100 in the middle, and the 200 at the bottom. A bullish order. So I do think it's important for both Cleanspark and Bitcoin to be watching for these EMAs as well as moving averages. We are not definitively bearish yet. They are still in the correct order, although they are pulling downwards, which isn't a good sign to see. And we definitely do need a bounce from here very soon. Now, why I see this as a great buying opportunity, despite potentially pulling back more, is we are getting so close to the halving. We only have a few months left to go. And if history repeats itself, we will see a huge run after the halving. So I think now is a great opportunity over the next couple of months to continue to buy as much as you can. Cleanspark, Bitcoin, other great miners that you like. Other great miners that should be able to pull a profit when Bitcoin starts blasting off, starts even going to 50, 60,000 and higher. I think now is the great time that separates the children from the adults. Do you face this head on and start buying more? Or do you get fearful, panic sell, and, just put your head in the sand? And here's something interesting that I don't know if you guys know this. I definitely didn't know it, but the 2024 halving is important because it's the year that Bitcoin's inflation rate will finally go below gold, making it the scarcest money to ever exist. You, of course, know that, Bitcoin gets mined. It gets added to the supply. Although the supply is capped at 21 million, the circulating supply does get added as these Bitcoin miners continue to mine Bitcoin and put Bitcoin into the market. Now, once the halving happens, that Bitcoin put into the market gets cut in half. And with gold, you can obviously get gold out of the ground and add to its circulating supply. And of course, with dollars, you could just print unlimited dollars. That's simple as that. But Bitcoin, as the halvings continue to come along, we will get less and less added to the circulating supply. And one thing to realize is the majority of the supply is already out. We only have less than 2 million Bitcoin left, and every 4 years, what comes out towards us, what comes into the circulating supply, gets cut in half every 4 years. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. If you understand that, you understand that Bitcoin is one of the most valuable things that you can own. Having said that, that doesn't mean Bitcoin and crypto isn't without its risks. It gets swayed easily by FUD, such as an article at the last second saying that SpaceX sold their Bitcoin. Who gives a damn? And the funny thing is, as far as I know, they haven't even confirmed this. This was just written by some random author, and it certainly stoked a lot of fear in everybody. Just like when Tesla announced that they bought Bitcoin, that is part of what made Bitcoin run so much from the 30s all the way to nearly 70,000. You know, now we're all fearful that SpaceX apparently sold some Bitcoin. I just find that kind of funny. I personally see it as a great opportunity to buy. Regardless of what big companies do with their Bitcoin, or don't do with their Bitcoin, the halvings will continue coming through, and the circulating supply grows slower and slower and slower while the buying continues. But let me know what you guys think. What Bitcoin miner should I buy next? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I will be doing that upcoming video very soon here. Where do you think Cleanspark and Bitcoin are going over the short term, midterm, and long term? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.